In the garden of glass, nobody can hear you scream. You are alone in space. How exciting. The Garden of Glass is a skyplace mode for Botania. It's aimed more at players who have some experience in the mod, but if you're new to it, you're more than welcome to try it out anyway. Most of Botania functions the same as it does on the ground, but some tweaks have been out in place to allow for skyblock-style gameplay, which are listed in the following pages. After spawning in the Garden of Glass, you'll find living roots under your feet. These can be crafted into saplings and floral fertilizer, or just used as bone meal. Sneak right-clicking a dirt or grass block with an empty hand will rummage through the soil, yielding some pebbles. These can be converted into cobblestone. Filling a petal apothecary can be done with a bowl, which in turn can be filled by right-clicking it on a water block. Aside from that, some things in Botania have been changed to fit skyblock gameplay. The orchid is easier to make, faster, and much more mana-efficient. The Cocoon of Caprice and the Mana Spreader have simpler recipes. The Blaze Mesh, which can be purified into obsidian, is made from powder instead of rods. Melon and pumpkin seeds can drop from tall grass. Floral fertilizer yields more per craft, and certain additional recipes have been added. Entering the Nether might seem difficult under these conditions. Worry not, however. as blaze meshes as mentioned previously can be converted into obsidian. To get these lamps, spawn blazes from fell pumpkins, since there's no easily accessible flint on an island in space. A fire charge will have to do for portal opening. The mana flash present in the starting area will allow a player without a lexic of Botania to exchange a sapling for one, by right-clicking the sapling on the mana flash. Around the world, you may stumble upon a large variety of mystical flowers. Spotting these flowers doesn't take much work, as they glow faintly and sparkle. They come in a total of 16 different colors. These flowers can also be grown with floral fertilizer, flowers as far as the eye can see. These flowers can be plucked from mystical petals, which are used in the creation of magical instruments and plants. Right-clicking a petal upon the ground will bury it, making it emit particles. These petals can also be crushed into the corresponding dyes. By mixing dye with some bone meal, you'll create a different type of fertilizer. This floral fertilizer will grow a few mystical flowers in the nearby vicinity, if you ever run low on those. There are also some taller variants of the typical mystical flowers around the world. These can be plucked for twice the petals a normal flower would yield. Tall flower variants can be made manually by fertilizing a mystical flower or a buried petal with bone meal. If you find yourself running low on a particular color, try burying a petal of that color and using a bone meal on it. Petals can also be made into blocks, and the other way around. To create a plant life that can do their bidding, a botanist needs a special means of infusing plants with mystical energy. Luckily, the petal apothecary can do just that. Far from being just the most basic, the pure daisy is the most important flower a botanist can have. This flower will purify any adjacent wood and stone blocks into their purified counterparts. Living wood and living rock, these resources are important crafting materials throughout a botanist's career. Just give it a minute or so. A few other blocks can also be purified by placing them around the flower. While not as unique and essential as the living box, these recipes still can come handy. Netherrack purifies into cobblestone, soul sand into sand, blaze mesh into obsidian, water into snow, ice into packed ice into blue ice, and end stone into cobbled deep slate. Generating mana should be at the top of any botanist's priority list. Luckily, there's a wide selection of generating flora willing to do the job. These flowers, as the name would imply, generate mana, usually consuming resources to do so. All generating flora like their functional brethren, can hold a small internal buffer of mana. Generating flora will automatically output to the closest nearby mana spreader. These flowers bind to one mana spreader at a time for mana output. They'll bind to the nearest spreader present at the time of their placement or the nearest placed afterward, if none were in range, and must be ray-bound to another spreader with a wand, in bind mode, if so desired. Choosing your first generating flower is a pretty simple task. The simplest two choices for fledgling botanists are the endoflame and the hydrangeas. The former uses coal or other fuel sources to generate mana. The latter uses water sources for the same task, but decays after about 3 days. The endoflame is a very rudimentary generating flower. It'll absorb any combustible items or blocks dropped on the nearby vicinity, one at a time, and burn through them to generate mana. The amount of time it takes to burn through an item is roughly half of the time of furnace wood. There are a few small caveats though. The endoflame will not burn anything that leave byproducts in furnaces example given, lava buckets, which leave buckets behind. Furthermore, the flower can only burn around 4 blocks of coal's worth of fuel at once. If any single fuel item with a longer burn time is used, its full efficiency will be lost. As the endoflame is often a botanist's first foray into proper ormatable generating flora, it shouldn't be run manually forever. As the flower requires dropped items, an open crate found in the natural apparatus section of this book, and some sort of output limiter, a timer or pressure plate would be ideal for it.